What's up, people? This is Alexander, obviously. It's a good late morning. I hit 10,000 email subscribers, and I was checking the stats. So that was pretty cool. So I figured, why not have Ask Me Anything Periscope? I'll let you guys hop on while I'm drinking my coffee, and we can talk about whatever you guys want to ask about. Hello, lady. I'll let people, get on the Periscope. But I'll probably do a podcast about the 10,000, the growth of the 10,000 person email list. But that's neither here nor there at the moment. What's your favorite lower back exercise? My personal favorite lower back exercise? I don't really have one. I'm pretty generic. What's up, JC? I'm pretty generic. 45-degree hyperextensions, body weight reverse hypers, deadlifts. If you're talking about direct lower back exercises, there's a reverse plank variation that I do that I've never actually found a video for online. It seems to me the only one that does it. It's a gymnastic movement, but that's a phenomenal lower back exercise. I do a few things for lower back. It's not any one movement. Coffee's good. It's like I always tell you guys, you have to approach your training with not a variety per se, just for the sake of variety, but some variance to the movements that you do. So there is no one exercise I do for one muscle. Me too. Yeah, for you guys hopping on, this is open AMA, so whatever you want to ask about. Assuming the questions are, good questions, we'll keep us going for a little bit. If they're lousy questions, then I'll cut it off when I get bored. Have you ever had a sexual experience with a man? No. No, on the Kinsey scale of sexuality, which I forget how the numbers go exactly, but I would be rated at the zero end of ultra heterosexual. What's up, unicorn? Hello, lady. What's the best time to take BCAAs when you're mostly eating throughout the day? If you're mostly eating throughout the day, then you don't need to take BCAAs. How's it been going vegan? Are you still doing it? No, I quit the vegan thing after about a week. I had some life stress happen that precluded making diet changes. Crawl on knees or bear crawl? Bear crawl. You don't, not crawling on your knees. All fours, hands and feet. Oh, here we go. People are arriving now. Yeah, this is open AMA, guys. So whatever you want to ask about, you can ask about. What books would you recommend to deal with manipulative people? I have no idea, actually. I've never had to read books to learn how to deal with that. What do you use for hair products? Genetics. I use genetics for hair products. How was it going vegan? For the week that I did it, it was fine, honestly. I didn't really notice any difference at all. Yeah, it was just too much of a hassle trying to keep it up in light of the events that were unfolding at the time, so I discontinued it. Yeah, the wind chimes. Bear crawl, move both hands at once. Kind of yes and no. What's up, Mr. Swift? How you doing, sir? Bear crawls it's a locomotive movement, so everything's moving at the same time, more or less. It's not as if I'm talking about a specific pattern of this hand, that foot, that hand. Like, that's not how it works. It's supposed to be fluidity, to the movement. There's a variety of locomotive crawling patterns that you can utilize. The point of crawling is not that, it's the ultimate form of exercise, but if you can crawl and you're sufficient at it, where you can get on all fours and you can, run on your hands, so to speak, you can go sideways, you can go backwards, you can sprint even almost. I guarantee you that your cardiovascular strength, your shoulder health, your hip mobility, your overall body movability, it's going to be well established. You're going to be athletic. If your movement, if your movability, let's say your mobility is lacking, crawling is going to be arduous. For the times when I've had the space to have my clients crawl, always have my clients crawl as part of the warm-up. And it's phenomenally revealing to people how, shall I say, incapacitated they are in regards to movement. Shrimp calls for ground fighting. Yeah, exactly. Especially for people on the ground, that's what freaks people out about wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for the first time. If they've never rolled before, when you get taken to the ground and you are on the ground, your body's physically, you're pressed into the earth. People will freak out. They'll freak out. They'll panic. Their, whatever they thought their strength levels were or their physical fitness, it is revealed to you when you're getting choked out, or when you're having someone grapple with you, or you're being, tossed and turned. So to be able to do that is, I would consider an essential physical skill, in all honesty, for this survivability. Would you be willing to give us a sample of what you eat in a day? My diet's pretty simple. I eat a lot of ground beef, red meat, white rice, sashimi, poke bowls. I tend to go out for sashimi or sushi a lot. Protein or creatine. I'm not really sure why you're asking the question that way. That's not an either-or question. Creatine is not protein. Creatine is an amino acid. Proteins are 20. Protein. Your complete protein is 22 amino acids. What do you typically do for warming up? Not a whole lot. I'll usually do something for glutes. Oftentimes I'll just walk a mile uphill, and that's really about it. My movements of themselves, I'll always take 1 or 2 warm-up sets. You can consider that a warm-up, but I don't have a necessarily specific protocol. Car guy or truck? Car. How long do you gym for? My workouts typically take between 30 to 60 minutes, and they usually skew towards the shorter side. Do you watch MMA? Not very often. Every once in a while, very occasionally. Do you think swimmers are good athletes in general? Qualify what you mean by good athlete. What does good athlete mean to you? You have to qualify that. Possessing physical competency, in regard, if we were to say a good athlete is someone that's physically competent and within the context of they can do the foundational patterns. They have cardiovascular stamina. They're heart healthy. They are physically competent at the bodyweight movements. You could call that a good athlete. If you're talking about a specialized athlete, as in transposable other sports, no, swimmers are terrible at other sports. The more specialized you get, the less apt you are in any other given activity. So the best swimming is highly, highly, highly specialized. A very excellent swimmer, they are in phenomenal shape relative to swimming. If you were to have them go learn how to box, they're going to be terrible at it. Vice versa, or not vice versa, but different scenario. If they were to, go play basketball, they're not ball sport athletes. So they're going to be bad at that. So that's the part of the issue when the average person judges athletics. You can see something impressive and think, oh wow, what a great athlete. They might be great at that one thing, but most athletes, the more specialized an athlete is, they're not going to have their skill sets transfer over to other sports at all. It's too different. He's this 5'8" boy. Yeah, exactly. Like that factor. There you go. If you're short, you're not going to be amazing at basketball unless you just have an ungodly explosiveness and your Bugsy Mogs. Then in that case, you'll be great. But otherwise, that's not going to be the case. They ball sport play. I don't play ball sports. I enjoyed soccer kind of when I was younger. I played baseball, but I'm not a sports person at all that way. I've always enjoyed combatives, and I do ballet, and that's about it. If I can't do ballet, then I do combatives. If I'm doing ballet, then combatives get put to the side. I try to address what I consider the physical demands for being a man at arms, man of physicality, and that I know how to fight. I'm very comfortable with violence, and I know how to move. How many grams of protein is too much in one meal? There's no such thing. Who's your favorite communist leader? Tito, actually. I haven't answered that question, but he wasn't really quite a communist. I guess he was, but he was a good leader, Tito. In regards to the protein question, there's no such thing as having too much protein in a meal. It just takes longer to digest. If losing your hair, do you think it's wise to just shave it and hit the gym? Yeah, just shave it off. Recommend bar class for cross training? No, not really, in all honesty. I'm not, bar class is basically ballet gone retarded. If you want to do that, fine. I'm sure it will be challenging. In regards to the context of cross-training is kind of both an overblown and underexplained concept. What most people consider cross-training is just being a well-rounded athlete. being able to lift, run, having stamina, being strong. It's not so necessarily as fancy as it's made out to be, but then also is a little bit more involved than people think it is. How do the two correlate, combat and ballet? Well, movement is movement. Everything is a dance. I consider everything a dance. So I don't consider the movement any different. The intention is different. When you're dancing, your purpose is art. When you're in combat, your purpose is violence and pain. Is that so different? Intentionality-wise, yes. The act of doing it, not so much. I've always found them to correspond very well with each other. Personally, I've always been very comfortable with combatives, whether it was wrestling, whether it was kickboxing, whether it was Muay Thai, whether it was boxing, whether it was grappling. I don't claim to be. I'm not a black belt and mastered all those things, but I can do all of them, with proficiency, and I enjoy them. I don't have I don't have the insecurity that I realize a lot of men do, where you see two guys get rough and the adrenaline dump hits you. Oh God, what am I going to do? Movement is movement. Violence is violence. It's part of the reality of living in a dark and light world, that you should know how to take care of yourself. Do you do 400-meter training? No, because I don't run 400 meters. So why would I train for it? Do you have any tips for better sleep? Yeah, get off your. Well, I've said this in the thread. Get off your phone. Get off the computer. The blue light exposure is definitely messing up your sleep. You need to reduce stress before you go to bed in the first place. Late night eating can also negatively affect sleep. Melatonin can improve sleep. L-theanine could help you, in terms of calming down. Sleeping is really more so a factor of. The reason most people struggle with sleep is not the sleeping itself; it's everything that leads up to it. Do you do sprint training? I incorporate sprints, quote unquote, in my training. I don't run on a track. Is blue light even necessary during the day? Well, I'm in blue light right now, but I'm also in natural light. You could argue that no, it's not necessary, but the reality is that everybody has blue light exposure since we all have phones and laptops. So. About hill sprints, I don't do hill sprints. I have anything against hill sprints, but I don't do hill sprints. I train in ballet 6 days a week, 7 days a week. It adds up to almost 20 hours or more, so there's not a necessity for me to do that. Do you think there's an impactful difference in terms of muscle mass between muscle change training? Oh, there's a massive amount of differences in training, men versus women. Dozens, hundreds of differences, actually. Yeah, I wrote a book on that I never published, but I have a series of articles in which I talked about that. But the differences between training men and women, they are multitudinal. Too many things to list. Women have different skeletons, they have different proclivities, their mental paradigm of how they approach training is often different. There's a lot of joint things you have to account for. If you don't understand anthropometrics and physics at all, you're going to mess people up. Women, the exercises are not different in the idea that there's no such thing as girl and guy exercises, but there is definitely a difference in male and female training, especially for beginners. To tell a funny story. I'm not telling funny stories. Gym stories are a dime a dozen. What's your nationality? Mom's Ukrainian Jew, dad's Mexican. My cats. Per to last email, how comfortable did misery feel for you prior to leading yourself and others? I don't know if I was miserable. I just wasn't necessarily happy with myself at the time. But at the same time, I've always had a happy-go-lucky attitude, and that I always believe things will get better. So it's paradoxical. Best place to start for what? What's your favorite quote? Men fear a lion, and God hates a coward. For training to best understand. The best way to get started is just to go to the gym and start doing machines, in all honesty. You for everybody needs to be competent with body weight movement, and even then, like body weight movement, everyone needs to be competent with moving yourself. So squats, lunges, push-ups, pull-ups, inverted rows, sit-ups, side crunches, planks. You should be able to do all that and do it with ease. It should not be hard. Those things should not be hard. Yeah, and then with that, you also have being able to use implements. You should know how to use dumbbells. You should know how to use barbell. You should know how to use machines. You should know how to use kettlebells, cables. And the principles for all those things are the same. You learn proper joint alignment. You understand how to align your body with the weight to create the line of force that you want, and then you execute. That doesn't change. So you have to. It's a first principle approach. You have your body. You have no understanding how to move your body efficiently. Body weight over machines to start. No, do both. Do both. Do both. I say machines because machines are kind of idiot-proof in that it says a chest machine, so you know that you're somehow working the front of you. For a lot of people, if you don't know anything about training, it's a lot to learn all at the same time. The vast majority of people lack physical education, and they're just utterly clueless as to how anything works. So you have to start extremely remedial. Is training twice a day sound for athletes? Sound in regards to what? That depends. Twice a day training depends. That's a context question. It can be effective for certain things within a certain context. Is there anything that females absolutely should not do for training? There is, actually. For beginner women, I'm saying you've never worked out before, do not try to max out on anything ever. I'm an amateur boxer who trains every day. I would take a recovery day, yes. Do you have any degrees? Yeah, I have a Bachelor's of Arts in Performance Choreography, Dance Performance and Choreography. I have a really, really, really useful and high-value liberal arts major. I'm being sarcastic if you can't tell. Thoughts on keto diets? They certainly can work, and there are merits to doing them. They're context-based, and if the situation calls for it, then yes, it could be recommendable. You're welcome. For women getting started, moderate to high reps, body weight machines. Use cables, dumbbells. The barbell can be hard for a lot of girls because it's heavy, and you're not strong enough to really use it proficiently yet. So I don't know. It depends. If I'm training somebody, I can have them start with the barbell right away. But you're with me. Training yourself, I would hold off on that for a few months until you can pick it up with ease. But if you start with body weight machines, like I said, moderate to high reps, learn foundational movements, what they are. I named them already. And you can look this stuff up online. You focus on building muscle. You will set yourself up for success. What you don't want to get caught up in is trying to lift super heavy. Don't do what guys do. If you're a woman, and men shouldn't be doing that either. Guys are just idiots when they go in and they want to max out, even though they've never really lifted before. So don't try and max out. Don't do anything less than 6 reps. Good form, good technique on everything. Recommend ways to improve blood flow and testosterone. Lifting weights. Do you recommend against doing one type of exercise on a daily basis, e.g. just pull-ups? You're going to develop chronic overuse issues if you do just one thing constantly. Do females build muscle differently at all? Not differently. It's a slower process. It's slower. Women build muscle the same as men, the physiological process, but because you have less testosterone than the guy does, obviously, your accretion of muscle tissue, it's not going to go that fast. Some women can put on muscle relatively. Some women do have better genetics, not that they are going to put on a ton of mass per se, but I have had occasionally female clients where they actually gain muscle at a rate comparable or almost comparable to man. They can gain let's say, 10, 15, 20 pounds of muscle in a year, and they look a lot, they'll be a lot leaner. They're always a lot more shapely, a lot more curvy. Pretty much if you're a female and you gain muscle mass, you're always going to get leaner by default. That just happens because your body's metabolism, nutrient partitioning improves so much. But otherwise it's a slow process. I've seen some girls that are quite physically strong. They have a fair amount of muscle for a female, but it took them quite some time. You're talking 5, 6, 7 years plus. It's certainly nothing. No woman in a year is going to get bulky. Let's say it that way. That's kind of the last thing you have to worry about. Are you religious? By my definition, yes. By other people's definitions, I don't know. How much time do you spend socializing a week? Pretty much 24/7, considering I'm talking to you guys right now. I'm around people a lot. What's your digit ratio? I have no idea what you're talking about. Digit ratio. You have to explain that one to me. Are vegans full of shit? No. No, not at all. The vegans usually have very deeply held reasons as to why they're vegan. Whether they are good reasons or, valid reasons or well-founded reasons, well, that can be argued, but, you cannot hate on people for believing in something, at least with diet, unless it starts interfering with how you do things, in which case you back off a little bit. Are you close with your family? Yes. Where are you drinking coffee? Coffee good or bad for you? Does it depend? Depends. Some people are very caffeine sensitive, and coffee's not recommendable. I'm not caffeine sensitive at all at this point. Never happened. Coffee actually has a number of health benefits. Very, very, very high in antioxidants. Length of index finger compared to ring finger. Men's ring finger should be longer. Oh, okay, whatever. Do you find that there's biological something to animal products? The animal products issue, that depends on how... it depends on how far you want to take that. Do you have kids? No, I don't have kids. Do not have kids. Want kids, but I don't have kids. I would take my shirt off, but it's a little cold. Where are ways to show you are dominant alpha? If you need to ask that question, you are not one. To be very blunt. What makes one caffeine sensitive? Individual metabolism. Some people their brain, so to speak, is hypersensitive to caffeine. You drink a little bit, makes you wired, makes you nervous, isn't so good for you. Other people, they can have 5 cups of coffee and they feel a little more alert, and that's about it. I'm drinking this big thing of coffee and I feel awake, but I'm not wired right now. Are you a Trump supporter? Yeah, MAGA baby. Best supplements for heart health long term? CoQ10. Honestly, I'm going to be, kind of a jerk on this one, but diet and exercise. If you're doing that, then yeah, there's supplements you can take. But if your cardiovascular health is not in order and your musculature is not in order, then supplements really don't matter. Coffee is bad for you? No, it's not bad for you at all. That's context dependent. As I said, some people, caffeine intake is not so recommendable. Some people can handle caffeine. Coffee itself has a number of health benefits, a massive number of health benefits. So you can make that choice yourself. But I would not say arbitrarily that it's bad for you. Health does not work that way. The good-bad paradigm completely screws up everybody's thinking. How do you feel about property rights? Get off my land or I will shoot you in the heart. That's how I feel about property rights. Hotep for life, yes. I'm rather libertarian in that regard when it comes to property rights. I'm not favorable to the idea that I'm not favorable, I guess you'd say, to the, whatever you want to call it, the globalist liberal idea where everything belongs to everybody. So I could skew more libertarian in that regard. What kind of book work was associated with performing arts majors? A lot of studying dance and movement history, actually. Actually, there's a lot of study that I did. I'm allowed to be, you're curious about your view of the principles, what's alpha dominant behavior? Well, alpha behavior is obvious. Man leads himself. He is his mental point. Man that leads himself, you are your mental point of origin. Not women. Yourself, a man that leads himself because he is himself. What happens beyond that? Well, then you have the ability to protect yourself, you have the ability to provide for yourself. If you do those 3 things and you have somewhat, let's say, of a devil-may-cry attitude where you live your life how you want, you'll be perceived as alpha in some regard. Most men are not alpha because they don't lead themselves. They, put women on a pedestal, let us say, and they have deep-seated insecurities about their physical being, about their ability to provide, about their ability to communicate. There's a massive insecurity across the board. You're wrong, Ro. Okay, fucking whatever. So having an alpha personality, that's why, I said this on another Periscope, but I've said this a few times. Having an alpha personality is very much made. It's not really, I'm sorry, reverse it. Having an alpha personality is very much born. It's not so much made. Can alpha females handle alpha males? I kind of beg the question as to what is an alpha female. Honestly, not to say that women can't be alpha, but you have alpha males, beta males. I don't know that alpha beta designation would be so appropriate for women, in all honesty. And I say that not on the basis that women are not, equal to men, but masculinity has a definite hierarchy to it. Perhaps for women, it would be something more akin to a system of, how would you define that? See, alpha female doesn't really work for me since women are not. The way women get along with each other is not the same dynamics as men so much. So that's why I feel the alpha beta designation doesn't work. I'll have to think about that. That's a good question. If you have let's say a strong woman, a woman of grace, where wrong, okay, fuck you, you're bounced. If you have a strong woman, a woman of grace, let's say in character, who carries herself, yeah, I guess you could suppose you could consider her an alpha, that she is a leader, but women are leaders by way of being very persuasive. You know, if you're pretty, you're persuasive, you're well-spoken, you know how to get people to do what you want, and you have positive manipulation in that regard. If you can do that, I mean, that's a powerful woman. I would almost say for a woman, it's almost not necessarily a case of alpha versus beta, but, sort of, how powerful are you? Yeah, I would phrase it that way. Soft touch femininity. Yeah, the power of femininity is in the soft touch. So a powerful woman is a woman that is very much a woman, and she can, make the world do what she wants. Does that match an alpha man? It could. It could. If she is going to, look up to him. If you're talking about an alpha and the idea that, I'm a fucking woman, hear me roar, fuck you, the very generic, I don't need a man, I'm a bitch and I'm proud of it. I wouldn't consider that an alpha female. That's a woman that's trying to act like how the alpha female, the way most people think of it, is basically just a very poor feminine modeling of an asshole alpha guy. I'll say it that way. Alpha female in terms of owning her femininity to the extent that a man owns his masculinity. Yeah, you could say that. That'd be a good way of saying it. Yes. Yeah, I guess. I mean, that actually does work. If you want to conceptualize it that way, an alpha female is a woman that is, empowered by her femininity to the maximum. An alpha man is a man that is powered by his masculinity to the maximum. I like that, actually. I like that a lot. Good conversation. Yeah, a lot of women do try to act like men. That's why the alpha male thing gets so skewed, where people hate that word. I hate the word alpha now. What is an alpha man? The way we model alphas oftentimes it's a very immature conceptualization. It's how a 13-year-old boy would imagine an alpha. I've always attracted alpha women. They usually ask me out. Weird. How come? I have no idea. I don't know you. I've had, I guess you'd say, alpha women. They've been very aggressive with me, but I have an aggressive personality, so. You look for what you think matches you in some context or another. Do you like Milo? Yeah, I like Milo. I always have respect for people that are provocateurs, since you put yourself at the risk of ostracization, and you put yourself at the risk of a metaphorical and perhaps literal public hanging in some cases. That's skin in the game. So people that put their reputation on the line that way. Yeah, you have to respect that. You don't have to respect them per se, where you like that person, but you have to respect that fact. What do you order at a bar? Vodka soda. What's your perspective on Russia? I don't really have one. I find that whole thing to be basically a bread and circus, horse and pony show. With modern politics, it's a narrative. It's narrative. It's a good show to make people believe things. And most people never question anything. Ben Shapiro. Why do you guys always ask about Ben Shapiro? I have no idea why you always ask about Ben Shapiro. Again, he's a provocateur. He's certainly intelligent. He's good at explaining himself, so good for him. Have you read 0 to 1, Peter Thiel? Yeah, I have. Excellent book. Doc, I don't give a shit about politics, guys. They're going to be ignored, those questions. If you could change our education system to be better suited for learning, how do you change it? I'd probably just destroy the whole thing. At this point, it's so far gone, I'm not really sure where to begin asking. I'm not even sure where to begin, renovating that. The way we conceptualize education is fundamentally flawed. The way I phrase this is, I'd say it this way. Modern education is designed to create automatons. Proper education is for the purpose of creating autonomous people. And it does not create autonomous people. White rice, thoughts of minimum wage, don't really care, honestly. I don't work. I work for myself, so it doesn't matter to me. What do you do for work? I tweet on Twitter, and then I get paid with a magical money tree. Thoughts on taxes? Pay your taxes. What would you prioritize in an educational system? Well, I would, like I just said, if I'm going to design an educational system, it's going to be based upon the idea that I want to create autonomous individuals that can think for themselves, they're able to contribute to, the greater good, that are able to, financially, functionally provide, for their own life. So you want to build it around the, two things: building successful individuals, and then building individuals who are interactive in positive, let's say, for the larger spirit they live in, for their community. If you're raising people to serve, I guess you'd say, serve a narrative, serve a government, and they're not autonomous and they have to be led, then your system has failed. Using emoticons, saying things like LOL. Emojis. I'm not so harsh on emojis. You want to use emojis. A lot of people use emojis. I've used emojis. Especially texting women. Women like emojis. Okay. The LOL thing. I find it just very immature, especially for some of you gentlemen that message me. You guys are young sometimes, teenagers in your 20s, and I can tell that it's not so much that you use LOL. I've used LOL times because I actually am laughing, but you attach LOL to every statement because you don't take yourself seriously. That's the issue with it. It's not that the LOL itself is annoying. It's the fact that you cannot speak with any sense of gravity at all. You cannot attach truth to anything that you say. You have to somehow dilute it, and to say anything, it can't be a serious statement. That's why I don't like LOL. That's why I told you guys, the other day, don't use LOL when you message me. Hey, bro, I want to improve myself. LOL. It doesn't make any sense at all. You don't take yourself seriously as a human being. If you cannot approach your own life with any intentionality, why would you expect me to? Thoughts on pickup? What about pickup? Yeah, the vast majority of men now are so vastly inept with women. I don't even know if you can call it pickup. It's really just guys that are completely socially stunted, undeveloped, and frankly socially retarded in interacting with the opposite sex. And now they need to learn how to behave properly, and they need to literally learn how to think. So it goes beyond PUA and pickup game. A lot of you guys that come up with these female questions at times, I realize that you just don't know how to interact with women. Period. It's not an issue of like, oh, well, how do I talk to a girl? It's just you don't even know how to think of. You don't know how to think of women in regards to having a model of what they are in the first place. Being an alpha will respect you. Yeah, well, there's that factor too. I never have learned pickup. I didn't read a book on how do I talk to girls. If I want to talk to a woman, I talk to her because I wanted to. Done. Rule number 1, don't take dating advice from females. Women can tell you a lot about how to speak to them if you listen to them. That's the other problem with you guys. You don't listen to women at all. You don't know how to. You cannot see. You don't know how to see truth that way. We're here. All right, people. Good talk. Talk to y'all again.